Good afternoon, everyone. To all the members of the University Senate, our faculty, staff, and students, really want to wish you all the best of health for you and your families. And for those of us that are still experiencing losses and other adverse impacts of the pandemic, I wish you better days ahead. And we continue to support our students, faculty, and staff impacted by the invasion of Ukraine. So as Jonathan mentioned earlier, we will continue to do our best to provide support there. So I want to start by thanking you for this opportunity to discuss the current state of Rutgers, New Brunswick. Today, I have three goals. One is to share with you some of the accomplishments that we'll be celebrating or that we've celebrated over the past year. Secondly, to speak to some of the existing challenges. And then the third part of my talk will be about our ambitious but well-grounded aspirations for the month ahead. Now, over the past year, our campus community has worked to build a shared understanding of the way forward as we emerge from the pandemic. I look forward, for example, to the report from President Holloway's Future of Work Task Force, and I'm inspired by the work that has already been done and accomplished through the diversity strategic planning process. And I'm proud today that I will provide an overview of the Rutgers New Brunswick's Academic Master Plan, a project made with significant input from students, faculty, and staff, as well as intensive research into our strengths and opportunities. The theme for the Academic Master Plan is, "This is what excellence looks like," and it establishes a clear path forward for academic excellence in the service of our university and our mission. So my aspirations for Rutgers New Brunswick is threefold. For our academic community to be a national leader among institutions of higher education and to build upon our existing academic greatness by setting the tone and defining what excellence looks like in some other areas, inclusive research, pedagogy, and service towards the common good. We also aspire to operational excellence. Some of you have mentioned some of these pain points already. And although this institution predates the founding of our nation, in many ways, we're in early stages of building strategic institutional clarity. It is important that this chancellor-led unit be fully aligned with our central administrators for a whole greater than the sum of its parts. We also aspire to become a beloved community, which for me means a place where we all feel welcomed, valued, and that we belong. Now, Rutgers New Brunswick has entered a new era of partnership and coordination with the university central administration for a direction that is focused on President Holloway's three hallmarks of academic excellence, strategic institutional clarity, and a beloved community. But no Chancellor-Provost could commit to this partnership alone. I would like to introduce you to my team. My cabinet includes Vice Provost of Research, Vice Provost of Academic Affairs, Faculty Advancement and Faculty Affairs, and Vice Provost of Undergraduate Education. I'm also privileged to work with my Senior Vice Chancellor and Chief of Staff, Alex Perez, and our Vice Chancellors for Student Affairs, Enrollment Management, Advancement, Marketing and Communications, and Finance, and Associate Vice Chancellor for Technology and Instruction, and our Senior Vice President for Equity, who oversees the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement. Now, reflecting our coordination with President Holloway's administration in Rutgers, New Brunswick, we're also supported by centralized administrators. That includes our Executive Vice President for Strategic Planning and Chief Operating Officer, our Senior Vice President for Human Resources, and our Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer. And I thank them for their support. I also want to thank my 12 academic deans that are really vital and close colleagues in ensuring that we provide our students with a world-class education and signature experiences while helping them to thrive. This team looks a little bit different than it did last year, with the addition of 2 interim deans. Interim Dean Ryan Kettler, who has led the Graduate School of Applied and Professional Psychology since July 1, and Interim Dean Stuart Shapiro, who has led the Blaustein School since January. And then last but not least, our institute directors and residential deans are also extremely important in ensuring we fulfill our university's mission of excellence, education, and public service. I'm proud to introduce 3 distinguished new members of this group. Dr. James Knowles, an internationally recognized human geneticist and psychiatrist, is our new director of the Human Genetics Institute of New Jersey. Dr. Knowles previously served at SUNY Downstate Health Sciences as professor and chair of the Department of Cell Biology and deputy director of the Institute of Genomic Health. Dr. Julie Lockwood, would like to also welcome her, is a new interim director of the Rutgers Institute of Earth, Ocean, and Atmospheric Sciences. Dr. Lockwood is not new to Rutgers, but new to this role. She's a professor in the Department of Ecology, Evolution, and Natural Sciences at the School of Environmental and Behavioral Sciences. Dr. Lockwood is a strong leader and a researcher in the ways human behaviors alter the Earth's biosphere and impacts other species. The last person I'd like to mention who is a wonderfully new addition to our community is Maura Riley. She's a respected curator, writer, art consultant, and nonprofit leader. She's our new director of the Zimmerli Art Museum. Among her many accomplishments, Dr. Riley is the founding curator of the Elizabeth Sackler Center for Feminist Art at the Brooklyn Museum, where she developed and launched the first exhibition and programming space at the United States, devoted entirely to feminist art. I appreciate the support I receive from this very stellar group of higher education leaders. And over the coming months and during the next academic year, we will be leading some nationwide executive searches to bring the best and brightest minds into several existing open positions. Now to celebrate our accomplishments. The challenges over the past 2 years have not stopped our community from digging in, pulling together, and doing what must be done for our students. This is reflected in our continued strong rankings. The US News and World Report places Rutgers within the top 25 public universities, and we have 20+ programs and schools in New Brunswick ranked in the nation's top 20. We have built on that success this year with the launch of several new important programs, and I will highlight a few. In August, we opened our one-stop student center walk-in location at Proctor Hall, which so far has welcomed 5,000 students and achieved outstanding satisfaction ratings. Since January 2020, the one-stop overall has processed more than 200,000 student inquiries across all of its intake channels, including walk-ins at the Proctor Hall, but also via email, online, and the phones. And they have a very high satisfaction ratings from our students. In September, we opened the Rutgers Center for Adult Autism Services Community Center, which proudly stands up for adults on the autism spectrum who can't always stand up for themselves, and which amplifies the voices of those who can. The center provides a wealth of services to help these important and vibrant individuals lead independent and fulfilling lives. It also advances research and prepares Rutgers graduates for careers in support of adults with autism. In October, we broke ground for the Brandt Behavioral Health Treatment Center and Residence, which will be the centerpiece for the Rutgers Initiative for Youth and Behavioral Health and Well-Being. It will serve as the gold standard for evidence-based behavioral care and will extend world-class outpatient services to many New Jersey youth and young adults. The Brandt Center meets an important need in New Jersey. There's no New Jersey facility that offers treatment that is both exclusively for young adults and adolescents and backed by an academic health leader like Rutgers University Behavioral Health Care and the Graduate School of Applied and Professional Psychology. I'm very proud that the Brandt Center will address this important need. The New Jersey Innovation and Technology Hub, which broke ground in New Brunswick this past October, will host the Rutgers Translational Research Facility. It is difficult to overstate just how significant this investment is for the state of New Jersey and Rutgers University. The hub will foster increased opportunities for collaboration between researchers, clinicians, biologists, and the pharmaceutical industry. We will also use it to support startup companies, industry partnerships, and professional learning consistent with the goals of the academic master plan. It will unleash the combined power of one of America's greatest public research universities with industry and other academic partners, with profound impacts for our state and regional economies. Now, Rutgers, New Brunswick has many points of pride, and we are one of the nation's most diverse public research universities. We are a national leader in providing higher education access to first-generation students, and our students continue to win many prestigious awards. For 12 of the past 15 years, we've actually been the top producer of US Fulbright student grant winners, averaging 15 winners per year. And you heard reference to the first two that we've heard about so far for this year that Jonathan mentioned earlier. During the same time, our students have been awarded 34 Goldwater scholarships, 11 Gates Cambridge scholarships, 6 Schwartzman scholarships, and our first 2 Marshall scholarships last year. As Jonathan said, I want to join him in congratulating our Goldwater scholars. These are our newest Goldwater scholars, and they're all juniors from genetics, physics, and mathematical sciences. And many thanks to Art Casiado for supporting our students in this way. Please join me in congratulating them. Now, President Holloway have talked in the past about athletics, and I'd like to present you with a slightly different perspective. He recently told the University Senate here that athletics helps us to tell a compelling story about Rutgers, one that inspires applicants, alumni, and friends to learn more about our great institution. And our student athletes across every team have played with great heart and great success during these most difficult times. The clearest benchmark of the excellence of our student athletes is our rankings in the Learfield Directors Cup competition, in which success is earned based on a university's overall success in collegiate athletics. This success is due to the collective work of all of our student athletes. Next, our campus community has shown so much courage, compassion, and resilience amidst the staggering losses in the pandemic. But as strong as we have been, we must remember to look at our own mental health and wellness. From April 25th through the 29th, Rutgers, New Brunswick will hold Wellness Week to remind our students, faculty, and staff about the importance of caring for our mental health needs, to become more aware of the many institutional resources that can help, and to encourage us to take time each day to care for ourselves. I'd like to say a lot about our faculty. Excellence in education and research is not possible without world-class faculty. And Rutgers, New Brunswick takes great pride in our entire faculty community. In particular, I wish to highlight some of the many who have earned impressive national and international awards this academic year. The Academy of Arts and Sciences, the Sloan Fellowship, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the National Science Foundation, which also issued its 2021 Career Award to 3 of our faculty members. The Academy of International Business has recognized another faculty member in the business school, the Labor and Employment Relations Association, the Simmons Foundation, just to mention a few. As President Holloway recently said, the research productivity of our scholars is breathtaking, and the pace is accelerating. Our researchers are securing grants that have and will continue to change the world. Our fiscal year of 2020 research expenditures primarily represents federal, state, and local funds, and supplemented by institutional funds and partnerships with businesses and nonprofits. This research is directed towards problems that affect our quality of life in New Jersey and beyond, and the human condition around the world. And again, to quote President Holloway, this is research in service of the common good. Now, as a faculty member myself, and as one who understands that student success begins with having an excellent and well-supported body of faculty members, I am focused on the best ways to ensure that our faculty members have what they need to thrive and advance in their careers here at Rutgers, New Brunswick. In 2019, we conducted a faculty satisfaction survey in partnership with COACH, which is the Harvard Graduate School of Education Collaborative on Academic Careers in Higher Education. The survey yielded important insights from our faculty, and I have since created working groups to develop a set of recommendations. I'd like to speak to one of the working group's recommendations, which was around how do we support our faculty. This led to a launch of our Faculty Development Council with representatives from each of our schools and a Center for Faculty Success, which will support our faculty in 3 key areas that the survey identified: faculty leadership, faculty mentoring, and faculty career advancement. To advance these areas, we've added the Vice Provost for Faculty Advancement and Faculty Affairs. We've created the Center for Faculty Success. We've bulked up our infrastructure to support our faculty and several initiatives at the departmental level. We've launched a Provost Leadership Fellows program to support and develop future leaders. And we've created a working group of department leaders and chairs to confer with the Vice Provost for Faculty Advancement and Faculty Affairs and to support these initiatives locally. And our final initiative is what I call the RAP project. It's the Rutgers Associate Professors Project, where we will be focusing on helping our associate professors to continue to progress at a quicker pace, a more appropriate pace in their seeking promotions. Now, while proudly celebrating all that we have accomplished, we must also acknowledge and examine the many ways and the many challenges we face as an institution, as well as some concerning trends. And I'd like to begin this part of our discussion with a focus on the state of our resources, including the adverse effects of the pandemic. The past 2 years have presented us with challenges in securing and retaining faculty and staff in a nationwide environment in which talented minds are retiring, resigning, or making other career choices. And we've been especially vulnerable to losing staff and faculty with expertise in diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice issues, as more and more institutions pursue their own diversity and social justice agendas. Our annual budget of $1.7 billion is funded primarily by our tuition and fees, grants and contracts, auxiliary revenue, and state appropriations, among other sources. But we are tuition dependent. 41% of our revenue comes from tuition and fees, and the state appropriation is 13%, along with some fringe support. Our enrollment, which has steadily increased, it's been increasing before the pandemic, is finally trending upwards again after having leveled off over the past 2 years. We have much work ahead to reverse this trend. We have significant loss in revenue due to lowered numbers of our out-of-state and international student composition. But we'll continue to work to restore our students' access to our university. Now, our operating expenses of $1.37 billion represent an efficient budget with significant fixed costs that we cannot change. Most of our expenses represent the faculty and staff who are essential to our university's mission of elevating public good through excellence in education, research, and public service. 67% of our budget goes to salaries, wages, and fringe benefits. Now, our current trend is one of upward pressures on our operating costs and downward pressures on our revenues. A trend exacerbated, no doubt, by the last 2 years and the events that have occurred there, and there's significant cost increase in almost every area. Our students and their families are impacted by these inflated costs, cost of living, inflation that's currently going on. And as a result, we remain committed to increasing our support for our students in terms of financial aid. This includes a new initiative called the Scarlet Guarantee, which I will discuss in a little while. Another upward pressure is our infrastructure needs. This comes from the outpaced cost of deferred maintenance on our residence halls, classrooms, and research spaces with limited resources to direct towards these projects. But this was a big emphasis and a big concern amongst our faculty and students during the academic master plan, and we must redouble our efforts to begin to address these infrastructure needs. Additionally, the pandemic has made abundantly clear that investments in our IT infrastructure are more important than ever before. And our revenues are driven down primarily by our enrollment composition, discounted tuition, the decision not to raise tuition over the last 2 years, which was a good decision, and other pressures, which I will continue to expand on. Just a quick word about the Scarlet Guarantee. Rutgers, New Brunswick recently announced our creation of the Scarlet Guarantee. It's a bold new tuition aid program that supplements the state of New Jersey's program, which is referred to as the Garden State Guarantee. These initiatives provide significant tuition and fees savings to qualified New Jersey residents whose adjusted gross income is $100,000 or less. For those earning $65K or less, they can mean attending our institution tuition-free for all 4 years of their undergraduate degree. Now, Rutgers, Newark, and Camden set the pace in providing similar nationally recognized support programs through their Run to the Top and Bridging the Gap initiatives. The Scarlet Guarantee now means that New Brunswick can join our sibling campuses in providing similar support to students at Rutgers, New Brunswick. Now, initiatives like the one I just discussed and others will be important in helping our institution address the so-called demographic cliff. This shrinking of traditional college-age populations due to the 2008 financial crisis is something that universities have been preparing for since before the pandemic. But fears of the demographic cliff is only part of the story of our enrollment future. After all, these shifts will account for less than 40% of our enrollment. The rest of the story depends on our ability to compete for emerging students who will account for a much larger portion of our success. We look to the research that shows increases in Hispanic students, lifelong learners, and those whose lives and careers would encourage them to take advantage of online and hybrid programs. At Rutgers, New Brunswick, we view the emerging trends with a well-grounded sense of hope and optimism. In a few moments, I will outline our academic master plan, which has been a primary focus for this academic year and charts the path forward for excellence that includes creating a welcoming community where all of our students will feel welcomed and that they belong. A few words about our return to Rutgers throughout the last 2 years of the pandemic. Our campus has really worked hard to protect the health and safety of our students, faculty, staff, and our community. And we do so by following the science and using the best available mitigation methods that we have. We've also implemented a return to campus plan that has been safe and responsible. And we continue to take joy in our community's return to the banks of the old Raritan. I still remember the excitement of August when Vice Chancellor Mena and I walked along Seminary Place to greet students who were moving into the Honors College. And I experienced a deep satisfaction when I recall that this January, Rutgers, New Brunswick resumed a predominantly in-person course schedule for our students. And of course, we are prepared for the changes to our policies on face coverings and other measures that will take effect on April 4th. I'm truly proud of the courage, flexibility that our entire campus community has shown and continues to show as we move forward. So now to preview our ambitious, well-grounded aspirations for the months ahead and sort of look forward to the future. What's the future for New Brunswick? Now, President Holloway set forth a bold challenge to our university community during his inauguration speech this past November. He said, Rutgers has too often shied away from embracing aspirations worthy of its potential and has been cautious about telling the world who we are and what we should become. He spoke about the academic excellence we already possess and our potential to achieve so much more. He concluded, let us be unafraid to be bold, comfortable in our own skin, and confident in our abilities. The Rutgers New Brunswick Academic Master Plan takes up that challenge with a clear and ambitious vision for our academic future. The academic plan is a roadmap for our campus, for our future, and as a leader in providing rigorous academic experiences and solving the most complex grand challenges of our day in public service, social justice, and in fostering our student success. We've created a strategy that prioritizes our academic excellence and fulfills our three-part land-grant mission. We have consistently met the goals of our timeline, and we're finalizing the draft of the Academic Master Plan report. Our data collection and stakeholder engagement included 3 town halls with a 4th plan on April 26th to roll out the plan, surveys of our students, faculty, and staff with more than 4,000 responses, and nearly a dozen meetings with stakeholder groups that have included undergraduate and graduate students, as well as faculty, staff, and administrators at all levels. We have a very large committee, a 65-member steering committee that included broad representation from across our campus, from our schools, our administrative units, serving all aspects of our teaching, research, and student success. Now, we began this academic year by creating working groups to take on 3 components of the plan. Working Group 1 was critical in writing the academic master planning report. Working Group 2 considered what academic programs we want to build that would be part of the university's signature identity. And Working Group 3 included 3 subgroups that explored innovations in research, our student experience, and our public service mission. Now, the AMP includes 4 pillars of excellence: student success, intellectual communities, research and innovation, and community engagement. And each of these pillars has its own goals, set of goals and objectives. The student success pillar, for example, calls for new practices to make Rutgers, New Brunswick more affordable and accessible. And we've already started that through programs like the Scarlet Guarantee. Our research on student success also focused our attention on the fact that students find it challenging to navigate our institutional structures, which can be quite confusing. This lack of institutional clarity is in conflict with Dr. Holloway's vision, and it can adversely impact our students' retention and their on-time graduation, increasing their debt. To address this issue, I've asked Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, Carolyn Mailing, to convene a discovery task force that will examine ways to streamline these complexities, remove barriers that impede the student experience, and create a forum for more holistic and active student advising. I invite each of you and our entire community to attend our final Academic Master Plan Town Hall, which will be held via Zoom on April 26th. This will be our opportunity to present the final report to the community. Now, creating the Academic Master Plan has instilled in every member of our steering committee a profound awareness and really a lot of respect for the excellence at Rutgers, New Brunswick, and the greater heights to which we are capable. And as President Holloway has said, cultivating academic excellence is not about building something new at Rutgers, but about building on what we already are and moving towards a vision of what we can be. And I am confident that the Academic Master Plan will guide our community towards its full potential as a world-recognized leader of education, research, and public service.